Really?
That was a very nice of you.
Okay, thanks.
Well, not, she'll be rude to me tomorrow.
No, we followed the right.
Never rude to you.
No, I know, I'm just teasing.
Yeah, yeah,
And the houses are on
yeah.
housing on the secondary step from outside house.
Yep.
And the apartment there, something like it.
I'm the mechanic, he needed help at the end of the day. It was like, bud, come here, I need your help. I got a meeting tonight.
Yeah.
But I look like a hell.
Is Janet Morrison coming tonight?
Yeah, she is.
She'll
She's
come
coming
here
at
at
7.
7.
Yeah,
Whatever.
we check.
Oh, good, we found it.
Oh, so this just replaces what was in there.
Under appointments.
Okay.
This is just a new guy that's.
You know, he's on, yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna be on the
He's on the level. And that's just a new.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to get some, what's the plan say?
And then they work with the assessors.
It's
already been done.
I know, we should vote it. What's on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's time to go on. We're gonna do the roads in
Janet
the
Morrison
parking
about
lot.
Dwelly Farm?
Tell me again?
We're gonna do the roads in the parking lot this year
Are you
too.
gonna mention Jack?
Yeah, I mean,
This summer.
this, yeah, it'll probably be closer towards, I don't wanna do any of that until we get all the drainage and everything that's gonna need big trucks in there. So I think as soon as we can get the drainage stuff finished, you know, that pond in the back, the pond in the front, get the utilities into the building,
Yeah.
then all the heavy equipment should be done, and then
Animal shelter.
we need to do that.
Hey, Alan,
Okay, I didn't know.
And then some.
Yeah, because
Yeah. Ridge, New Hampshire.
I mean, we're gonna push hard to try and be
I'll work him up a bill.
done by the end of the year.
Don't forget the election
So, yeah, I
tomorrow.
think-
I'm just glad they caught him.
We need to try and do that.
On Thursday.
Okay.
Then
Did she up the park this
Planning board on
weekend? Was
Tuesday
you up
night.
there? The kids wanted
We're
it.
still continuing that.
Did they? Galaxy one again?
Yeah, sixth grade yesterday.
Yeah.
I wasn't up there Sunday, I was up there Saturday morning for quite a while.
I've been and out. Yeah,
You really, okay,
they were really hit the ball.
totally too,
I think so, that works real good.
okay.
At this time, I would like to call our meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless Jeffrey.
Got the sign for the start? Yes, no? Check. No, we're on, we're starting.
The first item that we have on our agenda today is the acceptance of the minutes. If you want to take a second and review the minutes that we haven't already.
Hey.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from June 10th, 2013.
I second that.
We have a first and a second. We'll vote. Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes to accept the minutes from June 10th. Okay. And the next item that we have on our agenda is to discuss and vote the Gilman Waite Playground contract, and I believe Alan Mayo is here to discuss that with us.
Evening.
Good evening.
As you know, over the past several months, since about April or middle of May, we've been working on trying to get the playground situated at Gilman so we can start building. Where we're at right now is FAC 79 has been activated. It was activated on Friday. The contractor that we are trying to work with has provided us a state blanket contract that she got from OSD, but it isn't filled out and signed as of yet. I do have the OSD information on the FAC contract that I will hand you tonight. It's got the active status on it. It has the FAC 79 listing, and it also has 4 vendors listed on it. The vendor that we're trying to work with may be under one of those 4 as a parent company or whatever, I'm not sure. So we're still trying to verify that. That's where we're at with the state contract.
FAC 79, what is that?
FAC 79, what it is a state contract for landscaping and playground amenities and purchasing of playground equipment. And that has been the contract that we've been watching work through the state level to try to purchase this.
So we really can't take any action or motion until we know that
I'm
they're
not
one of
sure
the vendors.
what to do at this point.
Sure, Mr. Ritter?
Address this. First of all, it's always to the benefit of the town to work off of a state blanket where it exists, for many reasons, legal and financial. The state has vetted it, there's a boilerplate, it's the T's and C's, and usually, almost always, we get a good deal. Now, this has been cooking for a long time, and lo and behold, it finally has just come out of the oven, but it isn't executed yet. It will probably literally execute between the Operational Services Division, you have a copy of the blank there, that they will be signing, and the preferred vendor who will sign off within a week, I'm going to guess, because it was just released. What the town could do, we don't really want to wait 2 more weeks to bring it back. The board could vote this contingent on the state executing the blanket, which we expect is going to happen before Friday of this week. And then we can get on with the business of selecting a date to do this build, knowing that the prices are all baked into the state blanket. There's nothing for us to negotiate when we buy off the state blanket, other than to pick the pieces we want, and the prices have already been negotiated. So we could do that. It would save us a little time in terms of getting the playground project done sooner rather than later, to have you vote it contingent on the state executing this contract with Cindy Mack and her firm.
I might add that part of the problem here is the scheduling with building it. If we go out another 2 weeks right now, we probably are not going to build until the beginning of September, because she has all kinds of dates already set up through August and most of July. She has one opening in July weekend that we could do a community build on right now that we're shooting for, but we have to move forward soon in order to hit that date. So
I would make a motion then that we agree to sign the contract contingent upon the state executing it.
And I will second that.
Okay, and we'll take a vote. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And I will vote yes.
now, is my fence quotes, were they provided in their packet?
No, they were not.
I did drop them off at the selectman's office. I thought they were going to be
I
provided.
think they were. Well, hold on. Reclamation.
Those are all Bud's.
Yeah, these are all Bud's quotes. So it looks like no, they are not in the packet.
So I'll need to come back for fencing.
Yeah. Alan has done his due diligence with local fence contractors. Obviously, we want to fence this playground as well. I think this is the driver, get the playground moving, get the build moving. We can come back in 2 weeks for a vote on the fencing contract.
Yep.
Before you go, breaking news, I just opened this, I punched it in at 1:43 PM today. Alan doesn't even know, unless you got a copy.
I have not.
First Church Burying Ground, Templeton, Mass. This is over the signature, the actual ink signature of Francis Galvin, which is a rare thing. He actually signed it himself. The town has been awarded a contingency grant in the amount of $50,000 under the Mass Preservation Projects Fund for the second phase, what Alan and I call Phase 2 of the tomb restoration. So I want to applaud Alan for once again getting it done, bringing home $50,000 in state matching money. We do match it, and remember the vote at town meeting, it was all contingent on landing this grant, which we got notified of today. Thank you, Alan. Good
Well,
work.
I want to thank Jeff for all his support and help throughout both this end and the tomb restorations. It's nice to have a town coordinator where I can really rely on to get things done, so I appreciate
I'll
it.
get you copies tomorrow. Good.
Thank you very much.
All the way around.
Thank you.
Jeff, I'm going to leave this with you. That's just the updated on the OSD.
Good.
The next item that we have on the agenda is some action regarding annual highway bids from Bud. If you'd like to, do you have anything that you need to, or not? You don't have to if you didn't know if you had any
No,
comments
I-
you wanted to make. No?
This is pretty routine.
Okay.
Yeah.
The bids go out, and he made a recommendation.
Okay, so then we'll
to
just,
each
yep.
one. So if you want, I'll move it, and then if someone seconds it, then we can discuss.
Sure.
If people have questions. Okay, I move that we award the bid for bituminous concrete road resurfacing and related work to Mass Broken Stone. Total bid price, $382,205. Various pipe to E.J. Prescott Incorporated. Bid item 3, 87 octane gasoline. Stay with the state bid variable rate. Bid item 4.
I have one question, can we buy that, that's good. Gas price, $3.04
That's really
a
illegal,
gallon.
especially with the new gas boy system. I wouldn't try it. Okay. Bid item 4, low sulfur diesel, going with the state bid variable rate. Item 5, line painting to Poirier guidelines. Item 6, various concrete products to Ragged Hill doing business as Graves Concrete. Number 7, road reclamation to Murray Paving and Reclaiming, total bid price $42,250. And bid item 8, calcium chloride 35% to All States Asphalt Inc. at $1.16 per gallon of water.
I just have a couple educational kind of questions, not necessarily any issues with the bid or anything.
It's okay, I have a couple comments for you too.
No one seconded it yet.
Oh, second.
A second, okay.
Okay.
On these gas prices, it says that it's a variable rate, which makes it $3.35, looks like the total price. What if gas significantly increases? Is this going to increase as well, or is this like a ceiling price?
No, it's like a pump price, it's like buying it yourself. So if the, dock price goes up, our price goes up, so it's variable. It can go up and down. We've historically done it that way in the past. One year, it was suggested to me to go with fixed. And the fixed price at the time was $3, I think, and 80 or 90 cents a gallon. Well, gas dropped down, but we were locked in to pay the high price. So I think it's in our best interest, pay variable.
And I would agree that fixed is probably not the best, but if we're paying, $3.25 is, I guess that's a little bit less than what we're paying at the pump now, so.
No, it's 303.
303 is the price.
303.34.
The state blanket was lower than the
Then the
local
one,
bid.
the bid we
Right.
got from Sandry. yeah.
Sandry was a vendor bidder, and he bid $3.35. So the state bid currently is still the lower. And to speak about that, about item 4, which is the diesel, well, all 8 bids you see here, these are all low bids that came in, regardless of who they were. Bid 4, diesel, and I just wanted to bring it up to you. Historically, we've always gone with Hooter has been low bid. They're local, they're right in town. If we run low, they're right in town, they can bring fuel over. That only happens in the wintertime if we have back-to-back storms. But by going with state bid on this, and this is still my recommendation, I just wanted to bring to your attention, is that we could save potentially about, based on our estimate of what we used last year, basically that'd be around $4,800 savings if if we use the same amount of fuel. We have a mild winter, that number would obviously be lower, but we could still save close to 5,000 using state bid price. So I think that's what we need to do. Even though Lutul has been a great service to the town. And same with item 7. Item 7, the low bid beat out All States Asphalt, who's been our reclaiming company for years by $750. But just kind of wanted to point out that we are going with low bids.
Okay.
Try to make it through the year.
The last one there, calcium chloride, 35%. Is that for ice removal instead of sand and salt, or?
No, that 35% is for when you're reclaiming the roads. We inject calcium chloride in it in the gravel, stiffens up the road to give it a more solid base to put the binder and top down on. It's a stabilization unit, stabilizing unit. Chemical unit, yeah, chemical, it's a chemical.
Is there any other?
We don't use much of that, Doug, by the way. Only when we reclaim the road, so.
Any other further discussion? Okay, if not, we can vote on accepting these. Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Okay, thank you very much for.
And I do have another issue I'd like to
Sure.
talk about. I have 2 employees that are out on short-term disability due to medical reasons. I'm asking the board if it would be okay to hire or start the process to put on full-time temporary help until my 2 members return back to work, which right now it's the best guess is December, January timeframe. So we're going to be down 2 people if we don't fill those seats. Full-time temporary, we've done it in the past when we had somebody out on short-term disability. And they get a flat rate pay, no benefits.
Okay.
Little
Yes.
additional information, Mr. Chairman. I just received, I love it when a plan comes together, but I just received in writing today from the Laborers Union a simple statement signed by Paul Coffey asking for the town's countersignature on this subject, and the town would enter an agreement with the union that would say the town and the union are in agreement that due to health issues of 2 union members, the town will replace these workers with casual employees. What Bud just said, no benefits, no seniority rights, they're not union members, they don't pay union dues. The parties further agree that this arrangement shall be reviewed in 6 months after the start date of these casual employees. This simply forces us back to the table in our due diligence to make sure that in 6 months these employees are back at work. They've gone from short-term to long-term disability, whatever. But it does support what Bud is requesting. And as a side note, both of these employees have filed for short-term disability coverage and will achieve that status probably in the next week or so. Now, I have one question, which is how you go about finding and filling these 2 seats. Who applies? Where do you post? How do you find 2 individuals that are willing to be casual labor?
Oh, what I would do is put an ad in a local paper for a full-time temporary with a Class B license at minimum.
Yep.
And applications would come in. We actually have some applications still on file that we hold from previously when we hired our last full-time. Some of those people could be contacted to see if they're not working, would they be interested in a 5 or 6 month position with no bennies? It's their choice. I mean, I'm not sure what's out there. I'm sure there's people that want to work. I'm sure people right now are unemployed, so.
What rate of pay? The same rate that employees, whatever, a lower rate, something you advertise?
There was a rate that was, I think, fairly calculated in the past. I don't have that number with me tonight, but off the top of my head, I believe it was around $14, $15 an hour because it paid no pennies. So,
For the record, this does save the town money, no question about that. But how, more or less, depends on what rate we hire people at. Certainly, we're not paying insurance coverage. But I did look at, the town's liability blanket does protect these employees for a while. It's just, again, back to date certain when it will be reviewed. The insurance company does not carry you indefinitely. They insist that we have due diligence in terms of deciding to bring a current employee back under the union contract or terminating that employee and hiring new. So it kind of goes hand in glove with the labor union's interest. But my only concern here is that we hire at a fair rate, we don't overpay or underpay, and that we force the review. 6 months is fine. Christmas, we should sit down and make sure we review this.
right, because what we'll be faced with is after July, the remaining full-timers at the highway barn will put in for vacation time. So it'll dwindle the crew down to a minimal crew. And then if I've got somebody on vacation that week and somebody calls out sick that week, now I'm really in trouble if I've got a big job going on or a project going on.
And would this require our action tonight?
Other than to authorize Bud to proceed, that's the only thing we need.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion for Bud to proceed with full-time temporary help.
Second that.
Second. Okay, we'll vote. Joel?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So authorized.
And when we find the candidates that are qualified, will I need to come back to the board for the board's approval to hire them, or could that go through the town coordinator or myself directly? Question being, how would you like to work
Breaking
that?
trail here, there's no
Right.
standard, so.
Well, no,
Well,
we
why-
have done this in the past, and I believe it came to the board.
Okay, why I asked is how you guys time your meetings out, so if I
Right.
find somebody that we have to wait a couple more
Right.
weeks, we'll be into,
Next meeting of the board is July 8th, Monday the 8th.
Is this?
Yeah, 15th. You say so. You say so. 15th. That's not the second.
so that would be the board's pleasure to come back to the board once I have some applicants that
Yes,
are qualified? Okay, very good, thank you.
Sure, thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
The second Monday in July is the 8th, because the first of July is a Monday. I don't care, there'll be 2 meetings, but yes, there are 5 Mondays in July.
Glad we're not taking
Okay. Well, we have, I don't believe Janet is here yet. We still have 10 minutes. Is there a matter you'd like to discuss, Jeff, from new business
I have a
prior?
number of small items to
Sure.
take up, informational, et cetera, et cetera. So with the chair's approval.
Yes, please.
Notify the chair, the board, and the community that the state has certified our payment in lieu of taxes for state-owned and federal land in the town. We will be receiving for they have a different federal basis. They're giving us $2,008 in lieu of taxes for the state forest, all the state lands, the federal lands, which is about the same. I think we got $1,997 or something. So we're getting about, $10 or $12 more than last year, which is certainly better than not receiving. Let's see, we already dealt with that. We'll do appointments in a moment. Chief's fire contract. We did meet, this is more informational, we did meet with Mass Highway, Mass DOT as they're now known, regarding a possible project at on the Templeton Center Common at the intersection of 2A and 101. They were out last Thursday. Alan and I met with them, as well as a few members of the Dennis Rich and Bob Whalen were on the Templeton Center Common Improvement Committee. we have agreed after they took some pictures and showed them all of the work, that this has been studied several times. There was a traffic study, there are layouts. The concept is simple to describe, and this is just the concept piece, to bring South Road and Dudley Road to a single T intersection at Route 2A, which would cause us to abandon that little piece of South Street that goes by the bandstand, by the gazebo, and turn that into additional open space. Mass Historical has tentatively agreed, because we will have to move the World War I monument a little bit, but the net gain in grassy, permeable space on the common is what drives this, as well as public safety. MassDOT has agreed to create a project plan with us and to go to the Joint Transportation Planning Committee, which is part of Montechusett Regional Planning, at the next quarterly meeting, which will be roughly September. I will attend. We will get on the Transportation Improvement Plan sheet, the so-called tip sheet. They will support it, and we will start making our way slowly up that sheet, so that if I were to speculate here, we will actually do a project at that intersection in the summer of 2018, 5 years from now. Maybe 4, if we're lucky, but probably 5. There's commitment all the way around. It's really good that the state supports this. It's really good that the town supports it. It's really good we've done all this engineering work to date, and it will happen. We finally kicked off the ball as of this week. So I'll come back in September and report further, but that was kind of a breakthrough concept. We should mention that Chapter 26, some of you are aware, I know it was on the blog, it's elsewhere, but Chapter 26 of the Acts of 2013 has been signed by the governor. There was an article on Saturday's newspaper, Above the Fold. The town of Templeton now will select up to 13 acres of a 26-acre parcel on Crow Hill. And the engineering is going on literally as we speak. Within about 10 days from today, we will have a preliminary engineering report as to exactly which 12 to 13 acres of a 26-acre study area the town which wishes to actually take to the registry as a deeded parcel. So 1 year of fruition to actually get land to build a school. A notification that our property and casualty insurer, Maya, has in fact issued a second round of distribution of participation credits. The plan is now 30 years old. It's starting to overflow its distributions, and that's a good thing. The long and short, which is what people really care about, the bottom line here, is the town is going to get 2 credits back at the close of this fiscal year. Our property and casualty premium will be credited $5,576. Our workers' comp premium will be credited $1,493. The good news is that those 2 credits will flow through on our July 2013 invoice. It will further reduce our premium for the coming year by those amounts. And it means at the end of the next fiscal year, we'll probably have a little surplus in our general insurance accounts, net of these and other distribution credits that come through. A related note is I do need the board's awareness of, technically not approval, though certainly awareness of the fact that we've been asked to participate in an audit of our health insurance enrollment file. This is good business anyway. You should do it every 3 to 5 years. Maya has asked us to participate. This will go off to the town treasurer who manages the enrollments in our health plan. But I think it's very good business for the board to take a vote in support of the request of our insurer, Maya, to participate in an enrollment audit. They simply go through every single record and determine, is the person alive? Are they dead? Are they still employed? Are they retired? If they're a spouse of a deceased retiree, should we be paying their insurance? They go member by member, person by person, and simply clean up the file to make sure that we're not paying for a 30-year-old child of an employee who's retired and should have been taken off the rolls when they reached their 26th birthday or 21st birthday. So I wouldn't mind having a motion that we do an enrollment audit and allow the treasurer to provide the necessary information and work with our insurer, which is confidential, of course, to do that.
I'll accept the motion if there's one to be made.
I would make that motion.
I will second.
Okay, vote. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
I vote yes.
Janet's here, I've got a couple more quick things though. Phillipston has sent a letter to the board June 11th. They are grateful for the help of Whitaker and Bennett of the police department in writing a successful grant application, and it resulted in a state-of-the-art upgrade of radios and the radio network for both towns, which was recently completed. And we have 3 signatures from the select board of Phillipston thanking us for making that possible and basically taking them under our wing. Not sure they would have been able to do so on their own. A pat on the back and credit where it is due to the town coordinator. That's me. Here's a check for $1,200, which is advance rent on the animal shelter behind the DPW barn, the highway barn. I have negotiated a lease. They have agreed to pay in advance. They take, what do you call it, control, they move in, what do you call that when you, they move in with a July 1st, 1-year lease, which I'll need the chair to sign. The lease was actually created by, never mind, vetted by our town council's office, so it has all the T's and C's, which was negotiated. The rent is going to be $200 a month, which is $2,400 a year, so here's 6 months in advance. Plus they pay all the maintenance and all the utilities, with a net expected savings to the town of about $3,200 to $3,300 a year.
Oh, great.
So, done, but I will need your signature on the lease. The last thing, before we invite Janet to speak to us, is to accept the resignation from the COA board. Susan Lariviere has resigned from the board, and I guess the board needs to note and or accept that resignation from her effective July 1.
I make a motion to accept the resignation of Susan Lariviere from the COA board with regret.
I'll second that.
Okay. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Thank you. We'll do appointments later, I guess.
Sure.
Want to deal with that? Okay, so we can move on to the agenda.
Okay. This time I'd like to invite Ms. Morrison to speak, if she would like to.
I'm happy to. Do you want me to just sit or stand? Or
If you could actually sit right in this chair, just so we can catch up.
Okay, very good. Okay, as you recall, I was here a couple of weeks ago, not here, but at the school, at your meeting, to discuss the Dwelly Farm conservation restriction, which had initially been approved by the town at a vote in November of 2011. The conservation restriction has been circulating for signature, I believe in the selectman's office, and I think Mr. Ritter has the original there with him.
The board will need to sign. The Conservation Board has already signed off.
Okay, so we are here today to ask if you would sign to accept the conservation restriction on behalf of the town and to approve it. That's 2 things that the Board of Selectmen has to do. I've been going back and forth with Jeff about what we can do, that is my organization, to use Dwelly Farm to help the town mitigate its agricultural use of the agricultural land at the development center. And we have basically discussed at this point, approximately 6-acre exclusion, which would be of existing fields and some additional, a couple of acres that we would be willing to clear. So I'm going to distribute to you. These are, one of them, the first is a map, which would not be part of the conservation restriction, but just illustrates the best illustration of what we're trying to do here. So I think it'll become a little clearer when I give you the other ones. But if you are familiar with this intersection, the Dwelly Farm intersection, I think the roads are marked you can see that there is a green color which shows you where the prime farmland soils are. And then you see a yellow color, which is where we are proposing to exclude land from this present CR, conservation restriction, so that it could be used for a future agricultural preservation restriction to take care of the town's agricultural mitigation requirement. The parcel A and B are existing fields. The surveyor has already completed the survey of parcel A, and I hope today he was able to complete parcel B and go on to parcel C. As you can see from the aerial photo, parcel C is wooded, and that is an old field in the Dwelly Farm, bounded by stone walls, and my organization has decided that we could clear that field and meet the requirement of agricultural land for the APR program. Technically, they want to see a field that's been in use for a couple of years, but I think we might be able to overcome that particular constraint. Basically, it would have to be cleared and stumped and then seeded, as far as I can understand it. So once Jeff is able to tell us more about when this might have to take place, then we'll be able to set a better schedule for trying to get it cleared. I'm going to give you the next exhibit, and this is an actual exhibit that's going to be recorded with the conservation restriction. This is an exhibit that shows parcel A, B, and C as part of the entire farm. I'm sorry, one
That's
or
fine.
two on this one.
It's fine.
Oh, wait a minute, I've got it. It shows it them as, I'm sorry?
I can leave you with the official file.
So you can see there that those areas are shown, parcel A, B, and C, with their approximate acreage. We don't know exact acreage until the survey is done. But on GIS, those are approximate numbers. So we're going to have at least 5 acres, could be as much as 6.5, according to the surveyor who I spoke with this morning. So that particular exhibit, A2, if you look down at the bottom at the legend, it references a plan. That survey plan that's being prepared will be attached to the conservation restriction. So it will show exactly where those excluded areas are. And that same plan would become the plan of land for the agricultural preservation restriction. It does require a survey. There's no other way to do it, and know exactly what you're taking out and leaving in. The next exhibit is part of this conservation restriction, and it is shown in those diagonal lines. That is the area in the farm which would be usable for a permanent agricultural structure, up to 2 of them, up to 850 square feet each. It's referenced in the conservation restriction itself. The reason for this is that we are trying to do agriculture, and in order to do agriculture, sometimes you do have to use some structures. This would not include residences. This includes things like sheds, sugar houses, things like that. I mean, only 2 structures, relatively small. And you can see down at the bottom, the way we are designated these, because they don't have to be surveyed out, is with GPS waypoints, longitude and latitude. I've used this method before in conservation restrictions to show sort of envelopes within the restriction where certain activities could take place. It is an acceptable way of doing it. So it doesn't require that you actually survey it out. You get a pretty good idea. You know, my GPS was off maybe 10 or 12 feet, but you get a pretty good idea of where those areas are. So those are the main exhibits. Though I told Jeff today I didn't know if I would have all the exhibits, and I don't. I don't have A3, which is the survey. The survey and the description of those excluded areas has to become part of the so-called legal description, or all the verbiage you see in that would be attachment, or rather Exhibit A on the conservation restriction. So without that, I cannot I cannot write or complete the description because it has each of those parcels as exclusions. So that would be the whole package that would be going into the Boston for Secretary, I forget his name, I think it's O'Brien's signature, Executive Office of Environmental Affairs in Boston. And I hope to be able to overnight that tomorrow and get it back so that it can be recorded on Friday. As I told Jeff, what I will be doing Monday, I guess it's still, we're not into the holiday yet, I'll be coming back with a copy of the recorded document or the actual recorded document if they give it right back to me. Sometimes they do. I'm not sure what their practice is in Worcester. And all the other documents that are part of the agreement with the town, which includes a title report, the survey, a baseline documentation report, which is being completed now. I think that was it. So I'll be providing those to Jeff next week, right after the report. And that's about it. Do you have any questions about the conservation restriction or anything else?
Just the slight variances here.
Yeah,
Is that
there are.
that's just a result of
That's
the
my
two
GPS.
symptoms? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to thank you for working with the town and for your consideration and for the prime soils and the school thing. I know that kind of threw a little monkey wrench into
Yeah,
things.
it's okay.
But I do appreciate it, and I know that the Dwelly family will be very glad that this is finalized.
Yes, I think they will too, and you're welcome. We're happy to work with the town.
And
Yes.
I'd just like to add my 2 cents worth. Janet's been very helpful, and the goal here is a win-win, not only for the town and the Dwelly family and NCLT and the schools, but an opportunity to have what we hope will be a permanent agricultural educational experience here in Templeton, which is good for the town. It drives ecotourism, it helps the kids. It's just a wonderful use of this land. And then just getting the ag restrictions in place, which we hope to do shortly, is icing on it, because that helps the school project as well. So thanks, tip the hat to North County Land
Thank you very
Trust.
much. Thank you. We are happy to work with you.
And we do have the final sign
Okay.
and a
Oh,
check as well.
Okay, and I think there was a certificate of municipal liens
Yep,
that
yep.
You were to vote on whether that could be
Yes,
provided
actually.
without cost.
Right. We do need there's one little piece of housekeeping here. Janet has asked, I've recommended that the collector allow this transaction to go through and waive the liens on each of these parcels, which is $50. I think the total is about $300.
Actually, there should be no tax, and I've gone back and forth with them.
No balance on that one.
There shouldn't be, because we did receive
14-cent balance
the
there,
exemption. And then they
14-cent
started
balance,
to
no
charge us interest
balance,
even though we had the
5
exemption.
cents.
So I don't understand what was
Yeah.
going on there.
So we're asking, I think it was an uncommitted balance and some, but anyway, we're asking the town to waive the, there shouldn't have been taxes on it.
There actually shouldn't have been,
Yeah.
and I talked to them 2 different times
Yeah.
whenever I received the bill, which showed some interest and then interest on the interest, and it was like $10 or something. I really don't know what was happening in their billing. But in any case,
To the extent that there are any tax liens due and owing, and they're.
Which we're not expecting there
Which
to
we're not
be.
expecting there to be anyway, because they're interest fees.
Yeah.
The board could vote tonight to waive them, and then the collector, with that in hand, certified vote, can appropriately clean up the paperwork and waive the fees.
Charlie, did
Which
you
are
have-
like $1 on these 4, so.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Okay, sure. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll vote. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. I'm going to waive that.
Are there, for all 6 parcels there?
Yeah, there's 6, 1, 2, or do I 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 of
Okay,
them.
we're all set then.
And there's the original, you've got the original and the check.
Very good. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm sure we'll be in touch with very soon about getting everything else done. Folks have just finally gotten your vote from our signature from the governor, so it's like a phone call.
Thank you very much.
Charlie
Thank you.
had a question.
Yes, I'm sorry.
My name is Charlie Perkins.
Yep,
I'm the abutter on Jack Gurley's line.
yep.
Is it coming that far up, or is it all down on the Williamsville Road?
We're just We're just working with the Dwelly Farm, which is just the parcels that are shown on that map.
Oh,
Charlie,
the
yeah.
part that borders me is not
What
the
is you?
Dwelly
I'm not
Farm?
sure. You'd have to show him the entire parcel, maybe, I'm not sure. This is the way it looks. Those are all the parcels that we own that are involved in the conservation restriction. Does that make sense to you? So I don't know if your land abuts.
My land, according to what is the street?
So that's just a piece of it. That's just where the actual stuff is going on.
Because I know Jack and I, because he did, up there where Jack processed the wood lot,
Okay.
does it go up that far?
Are you talking about right
On
on
the Cook
Berry
Road.
Road?
No, I'm talking
on
about
Cook
the
Road. This is part of the conservation restriction. Everything you see in red is going to be protected under the conservation restriction. So it's not anybody else's land, it's just what used to
No,
belong
no,
to David Dwelly.
I'm asking for another reason.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. So this up here is right next to mine.
It may not be, that, if it's on the other side of Cook Road, we don't own it. It may still be in the Dwelly.
Oh, that's what he's talking about,
Yeah.
his land butts that.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Oh, ours doesn't include that parcel then. Because just what you see outlined in red is what we own and what will be.
I'll check with Jack tomorrow.
Sure, sure.
You
Because
can keep
that's-
keep that, Charlie.
Huh?
Keep that.
Because I would like to add mine to it, that's why I'm asking.
I see, did John Henshaw talk to you about, John Henshaw ever talk to you about conserving your land or anything? I'll give you my card, okay, and you can call.
Well, John, yeah.
Okay,
There's, you know,
Okay.
he certainly is a big part of it.
Okay.
You're going through the Athol district?
well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give you my card, so you can
Okay.
get a hold of me if you'd like, okay? All right.
And, okay, if there's no other discussion on that matter, the next item that we have to discuss and vote the fire chief's contract,
Yep.
is that correct?
Well, yes and no, it's sort of a misnomer, the chief's here. We don't need to vote his contract per se, but I need to brief the board, let me find his
Thank you very
contract. Because there's probably a technical word for this, but I call it a glitch. There it is. In pertinent part, chief's contract, which is a one-year contract and it expires September 30th, says under salary, section 6, an annual salary of $37,284, which was for 9 months. That's the salary for 9 months. He was, in fact, hired at grade 10, step 1, which was an annual salary of $49,712. The hourly rate on this salary is $23.90. So when we wrote this contract a year ago, well, in November or October, it said, you have to agree before July 1st, 2013 in order to pay him the continuation of the rate. So what we're looking for tonight is a motion and a vote to continue the chief's rate of pay at his current rate of pay until September 30th or until a new contract is negotiated and executed, whichever comes first. And presumably, I'd like to do this sooner rather than later, like we should start right after the holidays, to negotiate a new contract with the chief, which will be a 3-year contract to terminate on June 30th of 16. And negotiate all the Ts and Cs, including the rate of pay, in that contract. But given the current contract, the chief will actually be getting a pay cut unless you vote to continue his current rate of pay until we negotiate and finalize that contract. And it was just a glitch in the way we wrote it.
I will make a motion to that effect.
Okay, so there's a vote, Joy,
Yes.
Doug, and I'll vote yes.
Good.
Okay. The next thing that we have on our agenda is action on our, losing my place, on our appointments that we have. And I'll go through these by line, accept a motion and vote. Okay. The first one we have is Fred Aponte, Town Accountant, for a 3-year term which expires in 2016. Do I have a motion that we accept that appointment?
So moved.
Second?
Second, yeah.
Okay. We'll vote Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
We could do them also.
The next one, Charles Carroll, to the Montechusett Joint Transportation Committee, a 1-year term which expires in 2014.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. And if there's any discussion at any point, feel free to speak up. The next one we have is George Coulard. Sorry if I'm butchering any of these names. Communications Commission, 3-year term, 2016 it expires.
So moved.
Second,
And I vote yes. Or, sorry, Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next, town is for Town Council. Deutsch, Williams, Brooks, Durenis, and Holland, a 1-year term which expires in 2014.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is Joyce Crucan, Community Preservation Committee. It's a 2-year term, expires in 2015.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is William Harris to the Oversight Committee for the Senior Center. It's a 1-year term that expires in 2014.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, we'll vote Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I vote yes. Okay, next is Dan Keeney to the Templeton Emergency Planning Committee. It's a 1-year term. It expires in 2014.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is Dan Keeney as Town Treasurer, 3-year term. It expires in 2016.
I would like to change that to 1 year so that we could do a review because we haven't done a review yet.
Okay. Do I have a second to change that to a 1 year?
Yep, second,
So as it now reads, it's Dan Keeney, Town Treasurer, for a term of 1 year to expire in 2014. Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is Dan Keeney to the Community Development Action Committee, which is an appointment that is until completed.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is Matt Leclerc to the Agricultural Commission. It's a 3-year term that expires in 2016.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is Henry Mason to the Templeton Elementary School Building Committee. It's a 1-year term that expires in 2014.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is Robert O'Brien, Assistant Gas Plumbing Inspector. It's a 1-year term that expires in 2014.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is George Pushy, Boynton Public Library Trustees. That's a 1-year term expiring in 2014.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next, we have Eric Ring, Assistant Electrical Inspector, a 1-year term expiring in 2014.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug.
yes.
Next is Jeff Ritter as Town Coordinator. It's a 3-year term. It's expiring in 2016.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is Jeff Ritter as Municipal Hearing Officer. It's a 3-year term, expires in 2016.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is Jeff Ritter, Chief Procurement Officer, 3-year term expiring in 2016.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is Jeff Ritter, Capital Planning Committee, 1-year term expiring in 2014.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is Jeff Ritter to the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission as an alternate. It's a 1-year term expiring in 2014.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is Jeff Ritter to the Montechusett Joint Transportation Committee as an alternate. It's a 1-year term expiring in 2014.
So moved.
Second,
Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next is Jeff Ritter to the MART Advisory Board, 1-year term expiring in 2014.
So moved.
Second,
Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Next is Jeff Ritter to the Community Development Action Committee until completed.
So moved.
Second.
Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Next is and last is Jeff Ritter to the Chief Personnel Officer.
So moved.
Second.
Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. And then we
A
have,
couple of other things.
Sure.
Carol Harris, I don't know if you saw this in your packet, late breaking, you need to do that. And we will need to appoint someone, our Veterans Services agent. Ms. Farrell and I discussed this matter a few weeks ago. Do you remember who we decided we nominate at Veterans
Yes.
Services? Would you
Yes.
like to move that
Okay.
nomination? He's not,
Sure.
he's not here to defend himself.
I did it the first time, I'm gonna be in trouble. I make a motion to nominate Jeff Bennett as our Veterans Services representative.
do I have a second?
I would second that.
Okay.
Not here.
Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
I'm gonna enjoy telling him too. Welcome back, you've just been appointed.
And then our last appointment then would be Joyce Langelier, poll worker until June 30th, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Julie, the appointments, we don't have any more Gilman Waite trustees.
We usually, that'll probably come up when we do the selectmen ones. We still are,
I
you
never
know,
heard.
yeah, we haven't done that.
These three selectmen went from school,
Right,
Gilman Waite trustees.
yeah.
I understood with the Recreation Commission, now they have all the say over
No,
there. No, I didn't think so.
no.
Alan told me the other day at the game, I said, don't they have trustees now in the park? He said, no, the Recreation Committee has changed to Gilman Waite. I said, I don't think so, I think you could change the town bylaw from that. Well,
No, I think by law, the selectmen, we're a bunch, we're
Yeah,
trustees
used to
for
be
a bunch
every-
of different accounts.
yeah, there was no pay, nothing, just the,
Right, you
just
just,
the title. It's just three, there used to be four selectmen and so on.
there's actually a lot of money sitting in some of those accounts, but
Oh, yeah,
therefore,
yeah.
because they're so old, the original purpose, you know, for young, unmarried women, it's just a very archaic trust. So that's something that we need to look at, updating and trying to figure out what to do with those trusts.
Okay. The next item that we have would be discussion on the lease proposal on 690 Patriots Road. If that is,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
we received, we did an RFP for office space for town offices. We received one proposal only from the current landlord of this building, JVM Services, and received an offer which I found good enough to refuse. The 2-year offer was, and this is for a space that approximately doubles the amount of space in the building. Those of you familiar with it know there's vacant space back here. We currently rent a storage room, but there are other offices as well as the glass frontage out in the front parking lot, etc. And it was about 8,100 square feet altogether. Proposed rent was $78,900 a year, which is about $9.17 per square foot for each of a 2-year lease on that 8,100 square feet. If we were to stay another year, the rent proposal is increased to 9.63 cents per square foot, an increase of 54 cents per square foot to stay a 3rd year. And there was also a 4th year and a 5th year in this proposal. The town has budgeted only $52,000 for rent in the coming fiscal year. So I need direction and guidance from the board tonight and/or a decision about whether to reject this out of hand, whether we wish to seek an alternate, which might be staying right where we are and negotiating, or simply proposing that we move out and find other space. There has been very recently some thought given to a temporary occupancy at East Templeton Elementary School. Not as town hall, because we can't make it a town hall, but merely the 9 people that are in this building today. There are 5 full-time employees and 4 part-time employees that call 690 Patriots Road their place of employment today. And those 9 employees probably could be placed in East Templeton Elementary School if we made modest accommodation over there and got temporary occupancy, subject to heat and improvements in the building, which would save us, at a minimum, the $50,000 a year in rent that we're paying here today. Or if the board is so inclined, have me negotiate with the landlord to see if we could stay in the existing space. That was not part of the terms and conditions of the proposal that we asked for. We asked to rent more space to consolidate here, and are finding, of course, that the rental agreement proposed is exorbitant and does not meet our needs.
Yes, Doug.
If, even considering this increase, and if we rented this additional space, and we closed that falling down building where the town clerk is, how much would we save by just shutting that building down completely?
I'm going to turn to Will Spring to help answer that question. Mostly just